Hello and welcome to my kitchen. In this series, we'll focus on pasta dishes. Pasta is a popular staple in some countries and is a key ingredient that is accompanied by many delicious sauces. It is not a secret that Italian cuisine is one of the most popular in the world. From spaghetti and penne to linguini and rigatoni, pasta is versatile and you can easily prepare the sauces in your kitchen, even in a simple kitchen such as mine over here. Pasta dishes are characterized by simplicity, with many dishes having between 4 to 8 ingredients. The beauty about this is that you end up focusing on the quality of the ingredients rather than on an elaborate preparation. I'll advise you to stick to the original recipes, although you may find some ingredients may vary depending on the availability in your region. However, this does not mean that we cannot adapt and replace some ingredients with what is available locally. Usually my recipes stick to the original recipes, but I have taken the liberty to make some minor modifications that appeal to my palate, and I hope you find it as tasty as I do. All my recipes are quick and easy to make at home, and for the first part of this series, we'll focus on dishes cooked on a cooker top as opposed to oven-based pasta dishes. So, what are we cooking today? Today we are cooking spaghetti bolognese. Spaghetti bolognese is very famous. It's known all over the world, but it has different names here and there. But the main thing is spaghetti mincemeat, period. Mincemeat, red sauce, and spaghetti. That's bolognese sauce. Preparation time for this sauce is about 25 to 30 minutes. 25 minutes allowing for the tomatoes to simmer and release the acids, and you just make sure you have a well-cooked sauce. The meat is fairly quick to cook. It's mincemeat. So let's just start cooking and you'll see as we go along. Now, the first thing I'll do, let me start with the celery. You have your celery sticks. The first thing you do is, remove the leaves. Do that. So you're just cooking the stick without the leaves. The beauty about cooking also is you can decide to have fun in the kitchen, do your lines, do your perfect lines, try some art. Everything is allowed, just as long as the food, all your chopping ends up in the pot. Okay, so now we go to the onion. This time I'm dicing it. I like feeling the onion. I like seeing it, so I tend to space out my lines a bit so that I get a slightly chunky and size of onion, white onion. Now I always prefer to use white onion in sauces and brown onion in salads. One thing to keep in mind when you're cooking a pasta dish, your pasta dish, is timing is everything. The way you time the dish, when to put the pasta in the water, because what you're trying to achieve is to have both the sauce and the pasta cook at the same time. You're actually better having the sauce cook a little earlier than the pasta. If the sauce is ready earlier than the pasta by 10, 15 minutes, even 20, you're far better off than the other way around. So I'm going to put in the chopped onions and the celery all together. That is basically to make space on the board so I can chop the garlic. So there we go. You always hear jokes about garlic breath and stuff like that. The best solution, if you don't want to be worried about garlic breath, make sure both of you eat the same dish, because that way it balances out. Both of you smell of garlic or taste of garlic. Anyway, here we are. So put on the fire. I'll always repeat this and I'll keep repeating it and never get tired of repeating it. Always double check and make sure that the gas is lit. Sometimes it misfires and you might have some serious problems, and we don't want anyone at risk, especially not for my friends and viewers watching this show. So I've checked, that's okay. Olive oil. So that's olive oil. Now there are different styles of cooking. Many people would start with the olive oil, wait for the olive oil to get hot, and then put in all the other stuff. Personally, for me, it doesn't make a difference. There are some meals, yes, I want the oil to be very hot before I put in my stuff. But when you're dealing with just garlic and onions, it's okay. Let them all heat together. That's not a problem. So here we go. Put that, let it settle. Go to the bottom. My water is hot, it's just waiting. So on a low fire, or if you want to save, I've put it off, but it is hot. It will come to a boil in 2 minutes from the moment I put the fire on. So there we are. Next to go in will be my oregano, so I'll keep that close. So this meal I'm cooking, and basically all the meals on this show feeds 4. Basically, for 4 people, I use 450 grams of pasta, and then I check my sauces out. Now, when you're cooking, you don't want your sauce to be too much, so you have your pasta getting lost in the sauce, or you don't want it to be too little, so you just have pasta and it feels dry. So we have a balance. For this particular dish, I use the garlic to gauge when to add the next ingredient. Cooking involves the use of all your senses, your 5 senses. And it's very important when cooking, you start learning how to use them. You can, just by the sound, you can see how the sound changes from when I first put it in. You'll feel the sound change when you add the wine and other ingredients. Just from the sound, you can tell it's burning. Right now, from the smell alone, I can tell it's time to actually pay attention to the garlic, because it's beginning to brown. And there we are. And I can feel it just from the smell. The garlic starts releasing a different kind of smell. So there we are. I'm going to add the oregano and mix that. Just there. I can feel the oregano frying a little bit. And next comes white wine. Now, white wine, let me first put the wine. White wine is optional. For those who do not use wine, for many reasons. If I was cooking without white wine, I would put the oregano before I put the tomato sauce instead. So I'll do everything the same process. Next will come in the meat. Let the minced meat brown. And in the browning process, and I'm about a minute, 2 minutes away from putting the tomato sauce, I'll add in the oregano and then the tomato sauce. But for now, we're using white wine. I'll let the white wine simmer. You can smell the sauces are mixing. I can smell the white wine. It's releasing all the alcohols just coming out. So next I'll put in the meat, brown the meat, and all this will happen on high fire. I still haven't closed. So I always start my cooking on high fire, want to brown it, want to create a form of coating, especially when you're cooking with meat. You want to start it off on high fire, so you create a coat around the meat that will now suffocate the juices and continue cooking keep cooking inside this coat when you lower the fire and and cover your dish. So using my senses, what do I see? I can see the sauce has gone down. I can hear it's changed. It's somewhat changed. The sound has changed. It's more sounding like a fry now as opposed to what it was before. And I can smell, I've lost the smell of garlic now, but nothing is, all I can smell is a mixture of the ingredients, but nothing burning so far. So we're in a good place. And this is the right time now to put in the meat. So as you can see from the overhead camera, you can see what it looks like. Nothing is burnt, garlics are intact. You can see the onions, you can actually see them. And you can see the green of the celery. So now in comes the meat. So I'll put in the meat, still keep a high fire and wait to brown the meat. And the best way to brown the meat is just spread it out. It cooks very quickly. Turn it, let it sit. Let it sit a little bit. Stir, sit, stir, until you see it has lost the red, the pink, and everything is now one brown color. Honestly, I can't wait until the day when technology will be able to give us smell in our living rooms from the TV screen. Because if you're in here with me right now and you're smelling what I'm smelling, everything is mixed in here now. Okay. So it's time for the tomato sauce. So there we are. You can see it's beginning to come. The sauce is beginning to boil. You can hear it again. Usually the sound has changed. And once you've put in tomato, the first thing I do is I put some sugar. This helps with the acidity in the tomatoes. Mix it with the sugar. Let that go on for about 2 minutes. Now this is the part you have to watch out. When we talk of messy, this is the part it gets messy. When the tomato is at this stage, the fire is a bit high, it's spluttering around. But other than tomato-based dishes, the other white sauces and all are fairly clean. So what I'll do next, while that is going to boil for about 1 minute, I'll just chop my parsley so I have everything ready. And I'm done with chopping for the day. What's left is just mixing. So I'll do my parsley and just have that standing by. So my 1 minute has passed. You can see it's released some water. We lower the fire, let it simmer, and just make sure we keep an eye on it. 2 minutes should not pass before you start the sauce, because it is thick. It tends to burn at the edges of the pot if you just let it go. And again, you want your sauce to be spread and cooked evenly. So look at that. Look at how it's looking. The color, it's all nice and rich. Good, good, good. So my water has come to a boil. I'm ready now. I've got about 10 to 15 minutes to go with that. And here's my pasta. As I mentioned, the pack is 500 grams. What we need is 450. So it's fairly easy. If you don't have a weighing scale, just remove about that much of pasta. That's about 50 grams. And the rest is what goes into the boiling water. So there we go. I like to do a little something with my pasta there, so it opens up and it's going to start going in. And the rest of the pasta could go back into the pasta bank. There we go. It's very important with pasta that you keep stirring every 1 minute so you avoid the pasta sticking together. So you add salt to the water. Now it's very important when you're salting the water, you also kind of have to know what sauce you're preparing, and that also determines how much salt you're going to put into the water. So now we are 15 minutes into cooking that, so another 10 minutes to go more or less, and this is the time I add my last few ingredients to the sauce. So I've got my Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons. I love what this does to the meal. Then I'll add my tomato paste. Just one and a half tablespoons of that. Okay, so there we go. Pasta, always every 1 minute, just give it a little stir. Make sure to keep stirring and checking on the sauce, because now we've added the tomato paste. It comes really thick and tends to stick to especially to the bottom of the pan, the place that has a direct heat. So now my sauce is ready. The pasta is 1 minute away or so. You also, another thing in cooking this, because you know the pasta will come and finally do its final cooking here, that's another 1 to 2 minutes worth of cooking time here. So it's right now it's the exact time for me to get it out. But before I do that, I'll switch this off and put my parsley, and I just suffocate. The parsley will release its juices and everything, and we'll mix it later. So now I'm ready here. So that goes off. When it comes to draining the pasta, I have my colander, but I always like having a pot underneath to catch the pasta water. And you'll see in this sauce, if the sauce is a little bit dry, you want to add some liquid to the sauce, and the best liquid to add is the water from the pasta, from the drained pasta. So always drain with your colander on top of a pot or a container that can capture the water. So there we go. Here, I'll mix that a little bit and put in my pasta and do my mix. It's that simple. Just basically mix it, make sure it's all, the sauce is evenly spread. And if you feel it is too dry, no problem. If you feel it is too dry, no problem. That's what this is there for. What I'll do with my water from the pasta, I'll just put 1 soup spoon. Check it just to make sure that it's not too dry. Just add 1 soup spoon, just to make sure it is saucy and it's not so dry. Because also to bear in mind, as it stays, the pasta also absorbs some of the sauce. Time yourself in a way that by the time you're doing this mix I've just done, your family members, your guests are all seated at the table. The timing is everything in pasta. The timing of the cooking of the spaghetti, the timing of course of the sauce, and more importantly, the timing of serving, how long it takes to serve from this mix to the table. Now there we go. I have my pasta serving spoon here, which I'm going to use now. I'm going to serve some pasta here. Let's go and see what we've done. Now comes the moment. So when you put a little Parmesan on top. Let me just add some pepper. That is good. Okay. absolutely delicious. As you can see, it took 25 minutes to prepare. There it is. I can taste everything. I can taste all the ingredients, the onion, the crunch in the onion. Lovely. Please, 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 what are you waiting for? Start cooking. Dash. So there you have it. You have seen how simple and quick that was. Thank you for keeping me company while I whipped up a simple pasta dish, and I hope your pasta turns out as good and you enjoy every single bite. Always remember to serve pasta hot and straight out of the pan, so time yourselves so as to find your family or guests seated at the table before you do the final mix. Your feedback is always valuable, so please send me a note to the contacts on the screen, and I'd love to hear what you think of the dish you tried at home. Bon appetit!